Welcome back to our second video in the how-to series. Today what we're going to be looking at is an HDMI repair. We're not going to show you the teardown because you can find tons of videos on YouTube on how to tear down an Xbox One S. So come with me and I hope you learned something today. Thank you. Here what you need is some wick, some really good flux, some 4060 rosin core solder, preferably very fine, tweezers, and we're ready to go. And what we're going to be doing is removing this HDMI port here. And first you want to put some flux on the back pins. And then we want to get our solder and add more solder to the pins. The reason for this is so we can go ahead and lower the melting temperature of the pins to make it come out quicker with our rework station. And we want to go ahead and we want to put our flux on the 4 back pins. We want to go ahead and add some more solder to these. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go and heat the board up and very gently wiggle on the HDMI port to make sure, and do not pull on the HDMI port or else everything, the tracers can come loose. And then we're going to go ahead and keep the board heated after we get the port out and suck out all the excess solder from the 4 portholes. Alright, and that's done, and we want to go ahead and make sure it's got a good nice clean on there. Make sure you use 99.9% alcohol. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put some flux on there, and we're going to clean up the rest of the solder that are on the pads. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a little more solder on them to re-tin them. So they got nice new solder on there. We're going to go ahead and make sure we get it all cleaned up real quick. And then time for the HDMI port. When you put it on, you want to make sure all the pins line up with the pads correctly. If they don't, you might have to do some readjusting. And make sure we're going to go ahead and take our fine tip solder point and we're going to go to each single pad and make sure every pin is connected to the pad, and just a little pressure down on each one should do the trick. And you want to make sure you don't get any bridging between any pins, or else it will cause it to short out. So once you believe you have all the pins connected, you want to take a fine tip tweezers and go to each pin and make sure they do not wiggle. And if they do, go back with a little bit of solder in your tip and hit it again. Then we turn around the board and we go ahead and we put some flux down. And we want to go ahead and make sure all 4 of our pinholes are covered with a nice glob of solder. This will make sure that the HDMI port does not go anywhere. And you want to make sure you get enough solder in each one. And we want to make sure we get it all nice and cleaned. And there we go. We have a nice new HDMI port on the back, and it should be ready to go. And we'll go ahead and reassemble it. And thank you for watching.